Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. Act 4, the latency stage, 6 years to puberty. The golden age of schooling. If you are an elementary school teacher, this is your sweet spot. Freud called this the latency stage because he believed the intense sexual drives of the phallic stage go dormant, latent. The stormy seas calm down for a few years. During this time, the child engages in a defense mechanism called sublimation. They take all that psychic energy that was previously focused on their bodies and parents, and they channel it into socially acceptable activities: school, sports, hobbies, and friendships. In the classroom, this is often considered the golden age of childhood education. Students in grades 1 through 5 are generally eager to learn. They want to please. They are obsessed with competence and doing things. This aligns perfectly with Erik Erikson's industry versus inferiority stage. Socially, this is the era of cooties. Boys hang out with boys, girls hang out with girls. The sexes largely segregate themselves. The focus shifts from the parents to peers and teachers. The teacher becomes a godlike figure. I remember being in 3rd grade and seeing my teacher at the grocery store. I was shocked she didn't live at the school. That is latency thinking. The educator's role. Since the drives are sublimated into learning, our job is to provide plenty of avenues for success. We need to feed that hunger for industry. However, we also need to be aware of the social dynamics. Since the peer group is becoming the new family, social exclusion becomes devastating. The cliques start to form here. Teachers need to facilitate social-emotional learning, SEL, to ensure that the boys' club or the girls' group doesn't become toxic. We also have to watch out for students who can't sublimate. If a student in 4th grade is still acting out with extreme aggression or sexualized behavior, it's a red flag that they haven't successfully entered latency. Their home life or past trauma might be keeping them in a state of high arousal, preventing them from pouring that energy into learning. These kids need significant support, often beyond what a classroom teacher can provide alone. Act 5, the genital stage, puberty to death. The storm returns, and then puberty hits. The hormones kick in, the body changes, and the latency period is shattered. The libido wakes up with a vengeance. This is the genital stage. Unlike the phallic stage, where the focus was on oneself, the goal of the genital stage is to direct that energy outward toward others in a mature, consensual way. The goal is to balance love and work, Leben und Arbeiten, in the classroom. Welcome to middle and high school. The classroom environment changes overnight. Suddenly, the teacher is no longer a god. They are often the enemy, or at least an obstacle. The peer group is everything. You see the struggle to balance these new drives. Students are distracted. They are passing notes or texting about who likes whom. They are preening, posturing, and dealing with intense emotional highs and lows. From a Freudian perspective, the teenage rebellion is actually a necessary developmental step. To become an adult, the teen must psychologically detach from their parents. They have to kill the parent metaphorically to stand on their own. Since they can't always fight their parents directly, they project that authority onto teachers and fight us instead. The educator's role. Teaching high school requires a thick skin. You cannot take the rebellion personally. When a 15-year-old rolls their eyes at you, it's not about you. It's about their desperate need to prove they are autonomous. Our job is to provide a safe container for this chaos. We have to maintain boundaries, the superego, while acknowledging their drives, the id. We can also help them with sublimation again. Adolescents have a ton of energy. If we don't give them constructive outlets, sports, drama, debate, art, student government, that energy will go into destructive outlets, drugs, risky behavior, fighting. We have to help them channel their passion into their purpose. Furthermore, this is the stage where we prepare them for the work part of Freud's love and work equation. We are helping them build an identity that can contribute to society. We are guiding them toward careers and civic responsibility. The elephant's critique. Why are we still talking about this? Now, we have to address the reality of the situation. Freud is problematic. His theory is sexist, defining women largely by what they lack. It's heteronormative. It's based on a small sample size of Victorian Austrian women, not a diverse global population. And frankly, there is very little empirical, scientific evidence to support the idea that potty training determines whether you are messy or neat. So is this all just a scam? Is it pseudoscience? Not quite. While the specific biological details of Freud's theory haven't held up well to modern scrutiny, the psychological metaphors are incredibly durable. Freud was right about the unconscious. Modern neuroscience confirms that a huge percentage of our brain activity happens below the surface of conscious awareness. We are driven by impulses we don't fully understand. Freud was right about the importance of early childhood. We now call it ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, or attachment theory, but the core idea remains. What happens to you as a baby changes the architecture of your brain. Freud was right about defense mechanisms. We see denial, projection, and displacement in the classroom every single day. By studying Freud, we aren't necessarily signing up for his worldview 100%. Instead, we are adding a tool to our toolkit. We are learning to look beneath the surface. Practical application: the psychodynamically informed classroom. So how do we boil this down to Monday morning? How do we use Freud without needing a therapy couch in the reading corner? Here are a few takeaways for the modern American educator. 1. Don't take it personally. The transfer of emotion. Freud introduced the concept of transference, where a patient redirects feelings for a parent onto the therapist. This happens in school constantly. If a student has an angry, critical father, and you're a male teacher who corrects them, they might explode at you. They aren't yelling at Mr. Smith. They are yelling at their dad. Recognizing this helps you stay calm. You can think, this reaction is too big for the situation. It's not about me. 2. Look for the secondary gain. Freud taught us that all behavior serves a purpose, even bad behavior. If a student is constantly acting out, ask yourself, what is the id getting out of this? Attention? Control? Avoidance of a difficult task? Once you identify the hidden need, you can help them meet it in a healthy way. 3. Respect the regression. When students are stressed, and these days they are always stressed, they regress. A high schooler might throw a toddler-like tantrum. A middle schooler might need a blankie equivalent like a hoodie pulled up tight. Don't shame the regression. Recognize it as a sign that their ego is overwhelmed and offer support to help them regulate. 4. Sublimation is your best friend. Always look for ways to turn raw energy into art or work. The kid who can't stop talking? Put them in the debate club. The kid who is physically aggressive? Get them to move heavy books or erase the board. Channel the river. Don't just try to build a dam. Teaching is a messy human endeavor. We aren't programming robots. We are guiding developing souls who are wrestling with biological drives, societal rules, and their own emerging identities. Sigmund Freud's psychosexual theory, with all its flaws and eccentricities, reminds us that the students sitting in our rows are deep, complex icebergs. We only see the tip of the iceberg, the homework, the test scores, the hand-raising. But beneath the waterline lies a massive, churning world of hopes, fears, and ancient history. By understanding the stages of the oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital periods, we can better decode the mysterious language of student behavior. We can move from judgment, why is he acting like a baby, to curiosity. I wonder if he's feeling insecure and needs reassurance. We might not be analysts, and we certainly aren't fixing anyone's psyche in a 50-minute period. But by bringing a little bit of Freudian insight into the classroom, we can create an environment that is more patient, more understanding, and more attuned to the human condition. And in the end, isn't that what excellent education is all about?